Guys, we're in close company, okay? You know this. I'm in your earbud, sometimes twice a week for a while. You can admit it to me. I'll admit it to you, okay? I've done this before. I've procrastinated. It's sometimes my middle name. Granted, not as much this year. Blake is the king of procrastination. So if you yourself have procrastinated on your holiday shopping, dinna fash, Sassenach. It's okay. Because we wanted to let you know that Caswell Massey has totally got you covered. Better yet, if you make a purchase right now, they are happy to give you 30% off and free shipping off any order or product by using the coupon code OutlanderCast at checkout. Plus, we even have a 40% off coupon code that we're going to tell you about at the break. So go to CaswellMassey.com and use that coupon code. You won't regret it.
We had a plan. We were supposed to go to Harvard together, Daddy. I'm studying history. We were going to share your office.
I know. And 1,000 years ago, your mother and I had a plan as well. But, sometimes life takes unexpected turns. And when it does, do you know what we do? We soldier on.
I can't. I have to go.
Can we speak later? Bree, I love you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome all the way from Providence, Rhode Island. Welcome to Outlander Cast. It's a podcast dedicated to the show Outlander on Stars. Hey everybody, my name's Mary Larson and I'm not crying, you're crying. We're all crying, right? Who else cried? I know Blake cried.
Oh, I freaking sobbed. Oh my God, the amount of tears that were coming out of my eyes.
It messed me
was
up with my
embarrassing.
intro. Hearing that, we soldier on. I'm like a mess. I can't even say the clip, the intro that I've said a million times now, all the way from Providence, Rhode Island. I can't even do that.
You want to know? I also had tears of joy. You want to know why?
Tell me.
Because I can officially declare this the first horse of Outlander Season 4. The first horse.
Wow.
I am so excited. I am so excited. And I think you all know why. Do I even have to say it? Do I even have to say it?
I mean, probably for people who don't know you and your obsession.
Just say it.
Frank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Love myself some Frank.
Yes, as do many people. There are Frank haters out there, and there are Frank lovers. And this episode gave so much more Frank insight than I even imagined possible.
Right.
You know what's really funny is, for those of you who have not yet been to the Outlander Cast blog, you just go to outlandercast.com, click on blog. I'm telling you guys, midweek this week, you're going to want to be there because Andre Poppleton,
oh my God.
She and her photographer friend, Gary Dempster, they got some amazing behind the scenes photos of when Tobias Menzies was on set.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you a little secret something. When they sent these photos to myself and our editors, none of this had come out with other people's cameras. Nobody else was coming out saying, Frank's on set, Tobias is on set. There were other things. There was pictures of Bree and older clothing. So, people were like, ooh, Bree goes back in time. Yes. Welcome to the books of Outlander. This
Obviously.
is what they do. But the fact that Frank was being filmed here in this season, that was special and new. And we had to keep these pictures and this knowledge so incredibly secret. So I cannot wait to see Andre's post this week about the behind the scenes. And I just kept whispering to Blake. I said, honey, because we had to be careful with Blake with certain things. And I said, this is going to be fun to now see Andre's behind the scenes because she was probably like hiding behind some tree in all these scenes, that he was in. Nonetheless, make sure you go check out outlandercast.com this week and read the blog. But yes, Frank is back.
I'm sorry, who?
Frank.
Oh, yes. That's right.
So let's just tell you a little something before we dive into this episode. And for those of you who are like, ew, I hate Frank. Frank stinks. I'm just warning you. You might not enjoy this episode. I'm just warning you. If you're like, I could be so with Frank, enjoy, come on, the water's fine. You're okay here. Those of you who love Frank, come on in. The water's fine. But before we get into it, we just want to make sure that you know that you can follow us and subscribe to this podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the places. Just search Outlander Cast. Plus, we would love for you to become an official member of the Outlander Cast clan at outlandercastclan.com. There you get amazing benefits. You're going to get extras. You're going to get After Dark podcast episodes and access to special Outlander Cast giveaways, which you're going to hear about a little later. Free swag, all these goodies. But for now, let's get into the show.
Let's do it.
Tell me some of the episode details, darling.
This was entitled Down the Rabbit Hole, and it reminded me actually quite a bit of, obviously Alice in Wonderland. I mean, that's what it's really named after. But it reminded me of The Matrix as well, because there was such great imagery here for this episode. And you remember in The Matrix, Morpheus is talking to Neo, and he said you can take the red pill and go back to your everyday life, or you can take the blue pill and go down the rabbit hole with Alice and never see things the same way ever again. And that is exactly what is happening with Bree and Roger. They've begun this journey. They've taken the blue pill. They've gone into the Matrix. And I loved this episode title. This was one of those ones that was just... It was just very creative, and it gave you a total sense of the kind of theme work and the action that's about to happen in the episode. I loved this title. And it was written by Shannon Goss, who is one of the new writers that was brought in season 3. She has written The Doldrums, which was not one of my favorite episodes, and she also wrote Uncharted, which also featured a Randall woman walking alone through a set, probably much to the dismay of many a people. But she wrote Uncharted. She actually has another episode that she's writing this season as well. Called I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to say anything. But the director and I absolutely fracking love this director, Jennifer Getzinger.
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I love Jennifer Getzinger. She is amazing. She's actually a New England girl from Connecticut.
Hey.
She directed Surrender and First Wife, which are both very good episodes of Outlander. And she's also directed some of my favorite television episodes of or television shows of 2018 so far, including Man in the High Castle in season 3, which was incredible for season 3. She also directed season 3 of Daredevil and season 1 and 2 of Counterpart as well on Stars. So this woman, she actually made her bones on Mad Men. She directed a bunch of Mad Men episodes. She is quickly becoming one of my favorite directors, up there with like Michelle McLaren and all those. Unbelievable. She's really good. And the DP was Stan Vanderveken, one of the other directors of photography for season 4. So, my darling, what do you got for your kilt rating?
Oh, a big old 5. A big old 5, which is so odd because there was no hanky-panky, no rumpy-pumpy in this episode, but there was so much more to it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. How about you?
I'm giving this one, I know you're all going to think I'm giving it a 5. I'm not. I'm giving it a 4.95.
Which means 5. Okay.
It's essentially a 5.
Yes.
This was this was easily the best episode of season 4 so far, and it's
in your opinion.
That's my opinion. That's what we're talking about.
I know. I'm just saying.
This is easily, in my opinion, the best episode of season 4 so far, and it's not even close. And it's not because Frank's in it. I know I joke and I play Whitney, and it's fine, but it's more because of the things that you learn about the other characters, how the other characters are informed throughout this episode. And I think we'll get into why and who and everything, but this episode was just great. What do you got for your GBG?
Okay, my good. You can't get the crazy out. Okay? The crazy is always going to be there. You know how you had that friend or someone who were like, whoa, she was crazy. And then years go by and you're like, maybe she's calmed down. Nope.
No.
Laoghaire, Leary, still got the crazy in her.
Oh, the crazy.
Okay. And I kind of love that. Because I was like, wow, she's really, really being very kind. Nope. My bad. Is the title card. To which you might be like, why? Making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, such a cute little thing. It was actually also mentioned for Claire that she made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. How sweet. My bad is because, are you freaking serious? Is that how you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Has Sophie Skelton never in her adult life had to make peanut butter and jelly? Who slabs peanut butter, then slabs jelly, and then picks them both up and smushes them together vertically? Okay, what is going on? And then who doesn't wipe off the jelly before you cut? Now you have a messy sandwich.
It's all bloody with jelly and everything.
Such a gross cut. And I'm sorry, but if you are doing this for traveling purposes, you should be putting peanut butter on both sides of the bread and putting the jelly in the middle, or else it's going to make your bread super soggy for the journey.
Totally agree. And the other thing, too, I noticed is that the bread had this massive hole in it. Did you notice that, too? It had a massive hole. I know, but like,
bread.
I know, but I'm just saying it had a massive hole. And it was just like all the jelly was coming out.
Yeah, it was just so distracting. The cutting with the dirty knife. Like, who doesn't wipe off their knife? It really took me out of the element.
It's like, what are we doing?
And my great is Frank. Frank.
Oh,
Frank.
Frank.
Okay, Blake, how about you? GBG. Good, bad, great.
I love me some Frank.
I know you do.
All right, the good was just like you, Mary. I loved that Leary had this really cool dichotomy about her that she's just triggered by Jamie. Like people are triggered by a whole ton of different things. You know, whether it's politics or if it's sports or if it's religion, they just get triggered by something. And like Leary's trigger is Jamie. No matter what happens, no matter what she's doing, she hears that name. She like it's like she's ravenous, like not ravenous, but she has like rabies, you know, like she starts frothing at the mouth, and it's hard to blame her a little because Jamie did her dirty a little bit here.
Leary's had a rough life.
Yes,
let's be honest. If you put yourself in Leary's shoes, which none of us want to be because she's crazy, okay? But if you put yourself in her shoes, if you were being kissed and really felt loved by a man, and then all of a sudden some old hussy who's already married comes on in who's like, sure, I can make a love potion, and then suddenly Jamie marries her. What in the world? Then you get married twice, you're widowed twice, okay? Then Jamie comes back, he's an amazing father figure for your daughters. You know, things are going good, and then the witch comes back. Are you flipping kidding me? And Jamie goes to America and doesn't even give you money.
Right.
Now you're stuck.
Money that he promised.
And your daughter's married to a frog. What? I'd be a little miffed. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I would know I was
You would be
joking
triggered too.
Yeah.
You would be triggered.
Oh, and that little story that she told Brie, like, oh, I've heard stories about him.
Oh, I know.
Oh, he didn't want his baby. That's why he sent her away.
Oh,
she got nasty.
So what I'm getting at is I love the fact that she's triggered by Jamie, but aside from that, she's like a perfecly normal mom.
Yes.
And like loves her kids.
Makes a dang good pigeon.
Right. Who wouldn't want the pigeon, right?
Hey.
It's the best pigeon that Bree's ever tasted. And she's out there just taking care of this girl, bringing this random girl into her house, caring for her.
When she doesn't even have a lot of money, and here she is feeding her and clothing her.
Right. And so what I'm getting at is like I just love that dichotomy for Larry. Like it's great to see Laoghaire like be freaking bat crazy, but also be normal. And it's Jamie is the one that sets her off. I like that. The bad for me is
Claire that sets her off technically.
Well, Claire and Jamie too.
What's your mother's name? Maybe I know her. Claire.
There's a tie for me here.
For your bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it. It's gonna be kind of like Silicon Valley when they were like, you know, it's like okay, everything is great, but you know, everything in this episode was great, but and I have to say this, the coincidences are just driving me crazy. And I know I said I've accepted it. I know I said I've moved on. I've been okay with the fact that it's part of the Outlander universe.
Yes.
And I am okay with it. But
except to keep bringing it up like you're not okay with it.
But it's just something I have to say. I have to get it out there.
Okay.
I gotta get the poison out.
Bring
Okay. There's a lot of coincidences, and that those being Roger running into Stephen Bonnet out of nowhere. Brianna running into Laoghaire out of nowhere. Just coincidences. But
yes.
I've accepted it. I've moved on. Got the poison out. The actual bad for me is Lizzie and her dad. At the end of the episode, it's just like kind of tacked on, and I feel like they just tacked it on for the sake of tacking it on, and it's this weird parallel that I think that they tried to work in between Lizzie and her dad and Brianna and Frank.
I love that you're saying that this was your bad because this is when you cried the most.
No. Well, yes, this is getting to my great.
Okay.
Which eventually, I just didn't like that parallel. I felt like it was just tacked on because Lizzie doesn't even say anything. She's just like, "Hi, mistress," and that was it. It's
okay. So you're just finding the Lizzie storyline to be kind of pointless.
It's like,
in this episode.
Yeah, like what are we doing with this?
Okay.
And I know you probably have to do it, but there was just so much involved here. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Yes. However, her being able to say goodbye to her dad and everything, that is what.
Right, and
prompts.
and her dad, wanting all that was right for her, which leads me to my great Frank at the end when he's at the dock and he gives Brianna a look of approval, and Bri is just looking at him, and Tobias Menzies. It's the real reason why I love Frank so much is because of Tobias Menzies. The guy is just incredible, and I feel like Outlander misses that kind of presence. It misses that kind of actor. He does this thing where he does a, like this really deep breath as he's watching Brianna go, and he's just sitting there so still among all the craziness of the dock, people walking by and coming in and out, and dogs and buckets and barrels, and then there's just Frank. Mm-hmm. So dressed in the 60s garb, and Brianna's looking at him, and I sobbed. I sobbed because it was great to close that loop, for us the viewers, but really for Brianna. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh my, it was a perfect freaking end. It
was beautiful.
It was perfect.
Yes.
Oh my God. It was just perfect. And last episode I said, well, you know what? No. Let's just get into it.
Okay.
Let's get into the rest, and then we'll dive into it more.
So, Laoghaire.
Yes.
We delved into, we can kind of understand, but then she went a little too crazy. Trying to lock her in, saying, you're a witch too. Okay, she went too crazy. I actually was ready for Laoghaire to come on in and rip the clothes off of Brianna's body.
That's what I thought was going to happen
Cinderella.
too.
When Cinderella's there and her stepsisters are like, "That's my ribbon. Those are my beads." Blah 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 blah. And they tear, and Cinderella just touches her hair and is like, "Oh my goodness, oh my!" I was ready for Laoghaire to do that. Mm-hmm. Oh no, you don't wear these clothes, but she still was able to wear them, which was really cool. And yeah.
What really worked for me about this, and it was great to see, Laoghaire kind of bug out, and that moment when Brianna says, she says, "Who's your mother?" and Bree says, "Oh, Claire Fraser." Oh my God, that you could just see it in Nell Hudson's eyes, where it was like,
that was amazing.
It was great. I remember watching it with you, and when Bree said it, I kind of stuck my hands up in the air. It was like, when you see a bug, you're just like, oh my God, you just move your hands and you're like, shivers up your spine.
Yep.
That was great. But the reason why that moment was earned, in my opinion, is because the whole episode, you knew it was coming.
Yep.
You knew that Bree was not going to escape that house without some mention of Claire or Jamie. And that was the dramatic irony of it all. Laoghaire taking care of this girl who is the product of the love that she absolutely hates. Mm-hmm. The dramatic irony of it was fantastic, and the tension that was created because of it was through the roof. And you would just, it like we talked about before on our This Is Us 2 podcast for This Is Us. We've talked about having that moment of like two guys sitting at a table and seeing a bomb underneath the table that they don't know about, and the timer clicking down with each second as they talk. It may be boring when if it's just normal conversation, but if you see that bomb, you just know
coming.
It's coming, man. And that was freaking awesome.
Oh, it truly, truly was. And I don't know about you, but I got all sorts of nervous when Bree was locked in that room. I was like, find the window, climb your way out, burn the room. I don't know. What would you do? What would you do if you were Bree? Locked in, being told, I'm going to tell everybody you're a witch and get you burned.
Yeah, although there was a set gaffe. I know we've been talking about these a little bit lately.
Yeah.
But there was a moment when Bree touches her hand against one of the windows.
Okay.
And you can see the window bend like plastic.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, ooh, that... I can't unsee that now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But, yeah, what would you do, right?
There were a couple of things that bothered me at the house. For example, she and Leary made the bed, and then Bree climbed into it. Who makes their bed and immediately climbs in?
Well, no, I don't think she made... No, because didn't she have, like, the pot that was heating the bed?
Were they making, like, clean bedding? Were they making the bed for the first time? I thought it was like...
Well, no, they made the bed, but they put the pot underneath.
Oh, okay.
Or she had underneath.
It.
And then they put the blanket back over.
Okay, because I'm like, what are you guys doing? Bree's going to bed.
Right.
And I also need to say, I want to braid Joan's hair.
Oh, who wouldn't? See all that hair?
Oh, my God.
I'm hoping that our little lass has that kind of hair.
I was like, can I take a turn putting flowers in your hair too? Because that is braid-worthy hair right there. How cool, though, was it when Leary, put Brianna in the outfit and said, you're the same size as Marcelly. I hope that she's doing okay. And yet there was a reference a while back when Claire and Jamie were talking about how Marcelly is Brianna's age, and how they're very close in age, and Brianna could be pregnant by this age,
right.
Like how all of these different things, and how these two women who it's like Leary was helping tend to Jamie and Claire's daughter, and now Jamie and Claire are tending to Leary's daughter. It's just been really, really neat. So I liked how Leary was able to remind us that Brianna and Marcelly are close to the same age, close to the same size, and that they're being cared for by
and they're all
parents.
Connected.
Yes.
They're all connected, even though their parents are at, shall we say, loggerheads. They're all connected, and it's a beautiful moment when you realize that, even though Jamie has kind of done Leary a little dirty, that Brianna, even though Leary is even saying all these things about her mother and her father and being like...
I don't think he did her dirty. He legally was still married to Claire. Yeah. And he wasn't in love with Larry. They weren't even living together. I feel bad for Leary. I feel bad for her. But I don't think Jamie did her dirty.
You don't think so? I mean,
no.
You can't even say a little bit.
She's crazy.
She is crazy. I know people are listening to this going, Blake, shut the hell up. That girl deserves it. And, I think, from what I've seen, a lot of people didn't like the fact that they spent so much time with Leary, that they didn't spend more time at Lallybroch. I mean, what's your opinion about that, my darling? Do you think that Bree should have spent more time at Lallybroch?
Well, in the book, she does, and she hangs out with Jenny a lot. And the actress that portrays Jenny was unable to be around for scheduling. Right. So in addition to that, I think that it was a really neat way to add dimension not only to Frank's storyline, but to also Bree's storyline. I mean, Bree is now hanging out with someone and gets to hear the pain of what it's like to be married in a loveless marriage.
Right.
And it's not just from her dad's perspective, because she was so mad at her mom. Bree was so mad at Claire for so long. And now she's able to hear things from a different perspective. And yet she has her mom's back. When Leary's like, your mom was a witch, she stole him. And, for Bree to say, like, Jamie never loved you.
Oh,
like,
that was a dig back.
Yeah.
That was a good dig back.
But to know that she's able to say that when she was raised by Frank and to know everything that Frank and Claire went through, I think it was a really interesting way to add this depth to Bree. It also is going to add a lot more to how she handles things with Jamie. I mean, even when she was, leaving the letter for Roger, she said, my mom and Jamie. She didn't say my mom and my father. There's still this huge barrier between she and Jamie.
Sure.
And I liked this episode was able to establish even more of how tight Frank and Bree were.
Well, I want to dig into this, and I want to dig into it really well, because I think this is one of the reasons why this episode was so great. But before we do that, I just want to thank our sponsor real quick.
So, Caswell Massey is, of course, one of the first American purveyors of fragrance, dating all the way back to 1752, and they specialize in 16 unique, thoughtful, and unique fragrances. One of those fragrances we love is called Newport, named, of course, after Newport, Rhode Island, where they were founded. It's a cologne from a century ago and was created for the sailing elite of Newport and was therefore packaged in a beautiful bottle, blue as the sea. So today, Caswell Massey is just as thoughtful with their packaging, aiming to bring the best products in packaging meant to showcase each product's individuality. And because of that, Caswell Massey's fragrances are truly an amazing gift, especially as a last-minute gift idea. And this week only, as a Merry Christmas to the Outlander cast fans, you can gift any of the Caswell Massey full-size fragrance that includes their heritage, centuries, living florals, and their niche lines. Yes, even the amazing number 6. At 40% off when you visit CaswellMassey.com. Use the code OCXMAS, like Outlander cast Christmas. I'm going to say it again. OCXmas. OCXmas. Now through this Saturday. Don't want a fragrance? Well, you can still use the code OutlanderCast at checkout for 30% off your entire order. Again, that code is OCXMAS for 40% off any full-size fragrance, or the code OutlanderCast for 30% off your entire order.
Go ahead. Go get yourself a number 6.
Oh, my God.
And one other thing I do want to say, this company, Caswell Massey, was founded in Rhode Island. And this podcast comes from Rhode Island. If you love this podcast, you're going to love Caswell Massey. Help support a good Rhode Island business. That's all I'm going to say. A good
Rhode Island founded business.
Good roadie founded business. I really appreciate that. Okay, so one of the things that I really loved about this episode, and I think that sets it apart from the last episode, because I feel like they're like cousins. They're this episode and last episode. They're distant cousins, if you know what I mean. Obviously last episode was really handled and by Jamie and Claire. It was about them, and it was trying to inform us about them and their relationships with the people that they were involved with in that episode. Lord John, Willie, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This episode is kind of led. Well, actually, not kind of. It is actually absolutely led by Brianna and Roger. And I loved this episode way more than last, because even though last episode we got a great amount of time spent with those characters, and it was character relationship driven, as was this episode, I actually feel like in this one we learned a lot more about our characters than we did in the previous episode. Do you know what I mean?
Elaborate, Jelly Bean.
The last episode, like when it comes to these very dialogue-driven character relationships, you're spending a lot of time sitting and talking and figuring things out, motivations and what makes a person tick. And the idea behind it is that these kinds of episodes, you find something out about those characters that you didn't necessarily know. Or, this one's for you, Angela Hickey, it recontextualizes that character, right? So even though you may have known the information, it now presents it in a totally different way, and it gives you something that you didn't even anticipate. Right?
Like that Bree got to wear her mom's coat?
Or that Bree saw her.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You're getting deep, and I'm just geeking out.
No. But what I'm saying is, in the last episode for the previous, Blood of My Blood, we didn't really learn anything new about Claire or Lord John or Jamie. I mean, Claire is the same person that she was at the beginning of the episode that she was at the end. She is someone who has a begrudging relationship with Lord John. She is going to... She didn't change in any specific way. She still helped somebody get better that she didn't necessarily want to. The same thing with Lord John. He's there because he loves Jamie, and he's always loved Jamie. And we didn't learn anything new. I mean, Claire may have learned something new, but we as an audience didn't. And the same thing goes with Jamie. I think we kind of learned that that it's a sad state for him to be in, like where he doesn't get a chance to raise his kids at all. Mm-hmm. But I think we already knew that as an audience. And maybe you learned stuff about Willie, but you didn't really know him at all anyway. And how much of a connection to Willie do you really have? But this episode enlightens our characters in so many different ways. Whether it is Bree wearing her mother's coat, right?
Yes.
Like the poetry that is Bree walking out of Lallybroch wearing that that furry white coat.
The riding coat.
Oh my God. Like, what a beautiful moment, right? But more importantly, like, yes, I love Frank, but it's not the Frank part that I love. I love that Frank informs Brianna. We learned that Brianna has this huge, undeniable guilt about her dad, that she didn't say "I love you" to him. That she didn't. She held back on her mother's relationship because she just was we knew that she was a daddy's girl, but we didn't know that she was going to go to Harvard because he was going to be a professor there. They were going to share an office. You know, all of the Frank stuff is there for a purpose. It's there, and it informs why Brianna goes to Scotland. Life takes these crazy turns, and when that happens, what we do is soldier on. We do what we have to do. So we have this beautiful, amazing opening shot of Brianna in the skyscape, the mountainscape of Scotland.
Just makes you all want to say, if you guys are going to be changing things from the books, can they just move to Scotland?
I know.
Can they just all just pick up that little ridge?
All the Scotland porn. There was so much Scotland porn, it makes you remember how much you love Scotland.
I never forgot.
You know? And again, like last episode, this episode is a bit of a throwback a little bit here. We're getting to see people interacted with Scottish things, and I know there was a lot of people that really hated Brianna walking in the mountains.
Really?
I freaking loved it. Because it shows you, just like it was in Uncharted, and it's not, I don't think, a coincidence that Shannon Goss wrote Uncharted and then also wrote this episode. I don't think it's a coincidence. Just like the same thing with Karen Campbell, how she wrote this episode before this season. What was the bad episode this season? Do No Harm. She wrote that episode, and she also wrote Creme de Menthe. Right? There's a reason. I think there's a pattern here. And
it's not a bad episode. It's just an episode we weren't very fond of.
Well, it's the least liked episode of the season. Is that fair to say? I think for most people.
I did not enjoy that one out of all of these.
In general. I'm just saying, I think the general consensus was that it was the least liked episode of this season. Okay, great. What I'm getting at is this. I don't think it's a coincidence that Shannon Goss wrote both of these episodes that we're talking about. Uncharted and now this one, and having our characters do kind of the same thing. And like in Uncharted, Brianna in Down the Rabbit Hole, it shows weight to her decision. Mm-hmm. Like, she really, there's determination. I
would have loved to have a little voiceover, maybe in the DVD extras, of Brianna just going, "Oh my fracking God.
What was I doing?
I just traveled through time." Because, nobody really seems to be that in awe of the magic of time travel. Everyone's just like,
okay,
here we go. I want Roger on the flip side to be like, what? Like, I want him to express what I would express because Bree's just chilling. She's just chilling. And man, I am shocked that she doesn't have a potty mouth when she hurts her ankle.
Right.
I was ready for her to say, a little something that Claire would say. I'll watch my language in case there's kiddos in your car. But seriously, I was ready for her to drop some serious bombs, and none came out of her mouth. It was just, ouch, ooh, ouch. And I'm like, no, that's not what Claire would say.
Right. I totally.
You learned Frank's mouth.
Hey, Doc, you better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
That's what I kept thinking of each time. And I'm like, why isn't anybody talking about this? Why is
there no roads?
That there are no but going back in time, that idea of Marty McFly being like, hey, we need road to get to 88, and Doc saying we don't need roads, right? Mm-hmm. It's just as amazing going back in time. I feel like that is something that you would bug out about, and I know we talked about it before, and you just said I want Roger to freak the F out. I wanted to see it.
Seriously.
I was a little disappointed that we didn't see it.
I want him to look like he just came through a port key and is like, oh my God.
What was am I okay? Why are my arms tingling? Like something stupid like that. But in even talking
you
about
missed your
Roger,
Harry Potter sound effect.
Oh crap.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So hold on, do it again.
You're a wizard, Harry.
We all know, Blake. All of us Potterheads, we got you.
I would say that, and even though I loved Frank, like I said, it informed Bree, but I think you're probably thinking I'm going to say that informed Roger as well, and I don't think that it did. You know who I think the character that was brought out most in that part of the story?
Who?
Stephen Bonnet.
Wait. What?
Absolutely, Stephen Bonnet.
Of the roads? You've lost me.
Bree had her own little arc.
Journey.
Had her own little journey. And parallel to that, we had our own journey with Roger and his...
A mini journey.
A mini journey with Roger and what he was doing.
Joking about his facial hair. Yeah. And then we joked about his short pants. Like, Roger.
Like, what are you doing?
Did they not have long pants at the theater store? Buddy. Like, who told you? Because you know who doesn't wear those kind of pants? Mm-hmm. Jamie. I know who doesn't wear those kind of pants? Ian. I even seen Murtaugh walk around in silly, giant clown pants. That's what it looks like. They look like super wide. If you put clown shoes on Roger, I'd be like, yep, that's a clown outfit pant.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Sorry, Bonnet.
No, it's okay.
Yes, Bonnet was brilliant in this episode.
My love of Ed Spaliers is growing.
Especially now that we know how to say his name.
Yeah, I know. This is a presence, this villainous type presence. I'm not going to say villain, but I will say antagonist.
Okay.
This villainous type presence is something that this show has dearly missed, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And someone with the talent of Tobias Menzies, like I've said, and I'm not saying it's equaled by Ed Spaliers, but it is close. Just, we mentioned in the first episode of For America the Beautiful, his tics and the way that he moves is very reminiscent of Tobias Menzies, and in doing so, Black Jack Randall, right? Mm-hmm. There's this moment when Roger is speaking with Stephen Bonnet, and they're down below the decks, and Roger's been sneaking food to Morag Mackenzie, who I imagine is probably one of his relatives at some point. And Roger probably knows that, which is why he helped her out.
He's like, I got you, boo.
Yeah. There's this moment when Ed Spaliers is like, you see, and he kind of looks up and he just scratches his neck, and he just does this thing with his mouth. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. He's like, it's just not fair, is it? That this girl has to be down here and everybody else is suffering up there. It was just one of those, and he even did this thing too that he kind of did to Claire, where he steps in to Roger real close, and you think he's going to do something to him, but then he has that moment of smiling and being like, are you a betting man, Mackenzie? It's just brilliant acting. And I never thought I would be saying this about Jimmy from Downton Abbey, but the guy is great.
Agreed. Agreed.
I get the same feeling from him that I got from Tobias Menzies as Black Jack Randall, where I was like, I need to see more of this guy. I have to.
Oh, you will.
Because when he is on screen, he is fracking electric. And because you don't know what's going to happen. He makes people reactive as opposed to proactive. And it makes the surrounding characters react to all of his actions. And that is when you know you have a good villain. When someone is like the embodiment of the opposite of what your antagonist is, that person who makes your protagonist do crap that they would normally never do, that's a great villain. And I'm getting that from Stephen Bonnet.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
I'm absolutely.
How many of you I don't know if you felt this way too, Blake, but like literally when Bonnet pushes the child out the window.
Oh.
And then the mother jumps. Like, what else is the mother supposed to do?
I know you have to go after her.
Yes,
and that's why I'm saying you would think that this episode would inform Roger the way that it does Bree, but I don't think that it does because we don't necessarily learn anything about Roger that we didn't already know. He's a good guy. He's on his love quest, right? And who's to say that Brianna even wants to be loved and quested after? But, I mean, it shows you that the guy's determined he wants to be with Bree, but we already knew that to begin with. What we didn't necessarily know is that Stephen Bonnet has this way about him. You didn't know he had this narcissistic, like, I stay out of things of, the God's power, but on this ship, everything is in my power.
Yes.
You didn't necessarily know that he had this moment where he's like caring for a baby and putting alcohol on its gums to calm its teething. And he didn't necessarily know that he would take a kid and just push her out the back freaking window of a moving ship in the middle of the sea.
Bye.
You learned so much about this guy in a span of 10 minutes. The same thing that had happened in the first episode.
Yep.
Already he is a viable character.
Yes.
Already he is someone that you can either hate or love to hate.
Yep.
Like I do.
Yep.
Like it's an amazing job of writing.
Agreed.
And that's why I feel like that character was explained and enlightened a lot more from this episode. And it's an absolute reason why we needed it.
I agree.
Because I got a feeling we're going to be catching a lot more of Stephen Bonnet.
It's gonna be a good night.
So
how did you feel about the death notice that Frank finds?
Oh.
So I, being the nerd that I am, made sure that I could find the screen grab of it, read the entire thing, and sure enough, I mean, the letter that was written, there's, talking about, I'll just let you guys find it. It's easily available, but you can read the entire letter.
Well, give me the highlights.
But basically, like, I'm really sorry to send all this to you. I know that you've been searching a long time, about some information about this person. So, sorry, but this obit is going to be bad news to you.
Right.
Basically saying, you've been searching for Jamie Fraser. Bad news bears, dies in a fire. And of course, when you zoom in on the obituary, it says, James Fraser and his Claire Fraser, die in this fire.
And how that informs the decision that Frank makes right before he dies.
To go with Sandy Candy back to England, because he knows that it's some way, shape, or form, Claire still goes back to Jamie.
Right. No matter what.
And he might think she might do it now. She might do it tomorrow. She might do it in a year. But no matter what, she still loves him so much that she is going to find her way back to him.
Yep, at some point. And this does not excuse Frank for bringing Sandy Candy around.
I'm so glad she wasn't in this episode.
I am glad too. But it gives you another context as to why he was like, I want a divorce. And it's such a great moment to see that Frank didn't just get in the car and willy-nilly and get thrown off the road and die.
Yes,
He had purpose. He purposely staked out Bree and to be like, let's go together.
Oh my gosh, I'm just picturing him sobbing, like holding it together in front of Bree. And she's like, but Daddy, you love Mama. And he drives away crying.
Oh.
And then he dies. Oh my God.
And there was this like this real fatherly moment when, he says, this probably can't be a surprise to you, but it is what it is. And she says, well, what about me? I don't have a say.
Yeah.
And you're just gone all of a sudden. He says, Bree, you're always going to be the center of our universe. Like, we love you. And he gives her this, like, smile, like this, like, I love
lovely.
you. It's all going to be okay. Like, don't worry about it. And the irony, too, of Brianna saying, so what, you're just going to be gone and I have no say in it? And then the next moment, the guy's
That's
dead.
what happens.
You know,
Yep.
the kid doesn't have a say into it. And all of those things are all playing together. And then having it culminate, like I talked last episode about moments of remark.
Yes.
Like moments where you're like, holy smokes, that was incredible. And I said that last episode was lacking that moment where you were like, it blew your doors off. This episode
had a few.
And it
had a few. Like each character, Bree, Frank, Roger, Leary, Bonnet, each of them had that moment.
Right.
That you are going to remember.
Yep. But I would say the seminal moment is Frank standing on that dock. And and like it's even like a slight callback a little bit to season 1 with Jamie and Claire, as Jamie is looking at Claire unknowingly. Like he's looking at her and he's like keeping watch over her, and you know that's the way that it seems.
The ghost one?
The ghost.
Okay.
And here we have a ghost of Frank looking at Brianna, who is wearing her mother's coat. Like there's some stuff going on here, and it's a moment of like, wow, like just remark, and it builds, and it gives us everything that we have wanted. It's this whole portion of Brianna and Frank and everything. It's all culminated in this one moment, and I couldn't help but lose it.
You know, Claire is one lucky lady. She had 2 fantastic men love her.
Right.
Love her fully. Like, Frank frickin' tried, man.
Yeah.
He really, really
Show
tried.
Frank. Show Frank. I don't know about book. I know about book, but the first book. But I don't care. Like all the stuff.
Frank tried. It was so heartbroken.
All the stuff that happened within this episode, it makes sense for the story of the show.
Correct.
Right? Like I know you were telling me there were some major differences in the book. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to accept that, and I can see how some people that read the books that love the story and see it as that story were kind of probably a little disappointed in this episode. But I think just in terms of the show, it made complete sense. We've been talking for a while now.
Yes.
So what do you say we go to the Outlander cast staff thought of the week?
Yes, please.
Well, all right. This staff thought of the week comes to you from Lisa Cole Purkis, and I'm very happy to say that she kills it in this thought of the week.
Yay!
So, Lisa, take it away.
Hi, everyone. This is Lisa Cole Purkis, one of the Clan Gatherings Facebook moderators, with the staff thought of the week. Book readers felt that they were going down the rabbit hole with Bree this week, as this episode took some major departures from the novels and even gave some information that book readers have been asking about for over 25 years. What did Frank know? Well, according to the show universe, Frank knew quite a bit, and that was the big wow moment this episode for me. Reading the obituary with Claire's name was the jump start to events that started with Frank asking for the divorce and ended with Claire going back in time to Jamie, getting the ball rolling on the fulfillment of the very obituary that Frank found. I have to wonder, would Frank have warned Claire eventually about the things he and the Reverend discovered if he had not gotten in that accident? Are there still secrets to be revealed as we head into future seasons? The show creators are so invested in Frank and Tobias, we may be getting more interesting tidbits and non-book rabbit trails. I know I may be in the minority, but I say bring it on. I love being surprised with the unexpected turns the show takes, and I'm always up for a Tobias Menzies cameo. The final scene with Frank standing among the villagers, giving his blessing with a nod and smile to Bree's journey, made me tear up. And if you have any heart at all, you got a tear as well. I hope we see you again, Frank. Richard Rankin was no slouch in this episode either. His scenes with Ed Spilliers were electric. The scene where Bonnet is explaining how his life was changed by the toss of a coin was chilling for the unemotional way it was delivered. And you could see everything going across Roger's face as he tries to decide, can I overpower him? Am I about to be killed? Where is the story going, and do I get heads or tails? A few beats in the episode did feel false to me. I know that Laura Donnelly, who plays Jenny, was not available for filming this season, but Lallybroch was a cold and empty place without her. I know they did their best riding around her with the addition of the Leary storyline, but what I would have given to see Jenny lay eyes on Jamie's only daughter. Plus, it was hard to believe that Ian would have hurried Bree onto a ship like that. Jenny would have grabbed hold of his bollocks like she threatened to do with Jamie all those years ago. And the way Bree said a casual goodbye to Ian at the docks and just strolled into the inn by herself was a bit odd as well. The Ian I know would have seen her directly onto the ship and watched her sail away. But besides those small moments, I felt it was a riveting episode. Each hour this season has built into a mountain of anticipation for what's coming ahead. I hope the writers can deliver all they have promised. There is a lot of ground to cover, so let's get going, Outlander, and we'll see you on the Facebook page. Take care.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Like I said, killed it. Nailed it, did everything right. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, guys.
Well, actually, do you have any final thought? Actually, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I miss Scotland dearly after this episode.
I do too.
I'm really excited on how the season is going. I completely understand why Diana Gabaldon said that these like middle episodes were her favorite.
Right.
Not gonna lie, it makes me a little nervous about what happens next.
Yeah, like what happens at the end.
But on the flip side, I've really enjoyed them.
This episode, for me, for my final thought, it was tremendous, and it was that right episode that you need to get everything moving. Mm-hmm. And not only did you get things moving, but you also serviced the characters, and you had a bit of sentimentalism along with those characters that you've cashed in on. And that's what helps propel these people forward, and it informs them. It informed Bree, and it informed Stephen Bonnet, which is, I think, what you need, which leads me to my outlandish thought of the week.
Bring it on.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just talked about how the fact that it informed Bree and Stephen Bonnet. So I'm going to kind of do a take revision from my last outlandish theory of the week.
Okay.
Look, Bree has booked passage to America, which I imagine is probably Wilmington or of somewhere of the like. And I say that because that is where Roger is going to end up being, and that is going to end up where Stephen Bonnet is going to end up being as well. And we know that Lord John is on his way to Virginia, so I imagine he'll probably make his way to Wilmington as well. My thought is that Brianna, is going to just miss Roger at Wilmington.
Oh, that would be sad.
Going to just miss him. The drama involved in that, I think, is something that Outlander can't help itself to do. And I don't think Outlander can help itself with more coincidental occurrences and more coincidental happenings, which kind of informs this outlandish theory. My feeling is that she's going to run into Stephen Bonnet in Wilmington, and she's going to notice the ring that he is wearing on his pinky, which just happens to be Claire's ring from Jamie, the first one, obviously. And I think Bree's going to notice it, and she's probably going to say something, and she's going to run into Stephen Bonnet, and it's going to be bad news, like I said last episode. But wouldn't you know who comes to her rescue?
Who?
Who's done it before with Claire herself? Oh, the poetry of Lord John saving Brianna Randall like he once tried to save Claire Fraser.
Okay, so you think
I think
that Bree's going to get to the States before Roger does, even though Roger's on the same boat as Bonnet.
No. I'm
think-
thinking that like they're both going to arrive around the same time.
Okay.
And like Roger's going to be on the dock, and he's going to be walking away, and Bree walks over too, and all of a sudden you see like Roger walking away as Bree is walking onto the dock. Do you know what I mean?
And then Lord John Grey, you think's going to be there.
I think Lord John's going to be
going to come in on a white horse,
and something bad, something very bad. And knowing Outlander, something very rapey.
and he's going to. Oh gosh, Blake.
But I'm just saying, it is what it is. But something very bad is going to happen between Stephen Bonnet
Ugh.
and Bree. And wouldn't you know, I think it's going to be Lord John who comes to the rescue, because somehow he finds out that this is Brianna Fraser or Brianna Randall, and he rescues her and brings her home. That's just my opinion. And it leaves Roger off to do his own Roger things, while Brianna is finally like reunited with her family. Do you know what I mean?
You just like did way too much. My brain is a little overkill right now.
But I just I like it because
let's do a nice big interesting for you.
I like it because Lord John once tried to save Claire,
Okay.
and now he's in the position where he can finally try to save Claire's daughter without even like realizing it. Do you know what I mean?
Jelly bean.
So I think that's really good. What do I get for that?
You get an interesting.
Mock me.
Please hang up and try again.
Charlie believes me. He always does. Charlie's got my back.
Sure.
What do you think, Chuck?
Okay. Let's talk about this week's giveaways.
All right. So at OutlanderCastClan.com, the first giveaway is the premium ROS shave gift set, which includes the EDT, the Eau de Toilette, shaving cream, and the little brush for yourself,
Okay.
and also a razor. Very exciting. It has a suggested retail price of $120. You can get this at OutlanderCastClan.com.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, that's the giveaway for that. And the OutlanderCastClan.com, the giveaway is the Marum and the Beatrix Premium Gift Set. So the fragrances, the niche fragrance set, you have two of them, and it is a $90 value. Again, you can find this at OutlanderCastClan
Boom, baby.
.com. My darling, are you ready to close this?
That I am.
This amazing episode of Outlander Cast?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Enough, Whitney. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to Outlander Cast, and especially for those of you who are in the Outlander Cast Clan Gathering or the Outlander Cast Clan Book Club. If you're not yet there, you can find us on all sorts of social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Just search Outlander Cast.
We wanted to remind you, too, that we are having our finale party. It is happening on January 27th. All the details are going to be announced very soon, but set that date aside because we are holding a party. It's going to be a party unlike any other party you've ever been to. It's going to be amazing, and I'm so excited about it. So January 27th, come watch the finale with us and check out the live podcast that we'll be doing right in front of you. Everything you've just listened to, we'll be doing in front of you live.
So cool.
Including all of our screw-ups and everything that all the talk back Mary and I have and all of our little hand signals and everything we do. You get to see it all live and be with a bunch of Outlander nerds all together.
It's going to be amazing, and we would love for you to be there. We're also super thankful because guess what? We asked, and you delivered. We asked for more written reviews in iTunes or your podcast app of choice, and so many of you have. We want to this week thank Gloria Costa, who said, I love getting another's point of view on each episode of Outlander. Mary and Blake have such a great chemistry, and I love how they can always tie something in the episode to Harry Potter and pop culture. We got you, girl.
You're a wizard.
We got you.
Oh, you know what I realized I didn't do?
What?
I didn't do this today.
The entire episode got that.
Yep.
Frank got that. Bonnet got that. Roger got that.
I'm giving outstandings out like it's Oprah.
You know what I want?
What's that?
I want poor Fiona to be able to have a little something magical in her life. You know what she is?
She's got a new house.
She's the equivalent of a squib. She's like, I know about all the magic. I can see all the magic.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I can't do it. Squib. That's what she is. Okay, we want to thank all of our patrons at OutlanderCastClan.com, especially Angie Leith, Carolyn. I just gave Angie her last name. Sorry, Angie. Angie, Carolyn, Salin.
Celine.
There you go, Celine. High five to you. Cheryl, Diane, Heather, Jennifer, Lauren, Linda, Marilyn, Mary, Michelle, Patricia, Summer, as well as our co-producers, Barbara, Carolyn, Christina, Dana, Dieta, Janet, Keelan, Kirsty, Lisa, Liz, Marianne, Meredith, Raynal, Rita, Sharon, Sue, Tara, Tina, and Tracy. And last but not least, our executive producers, Anne, Bobby, Jen, Martha, Peg, and Sarah. Thank you all so incredibly much. I think that's it.
Thank you, guys.
Until next time, lads and lasses, my name's Mary Larson.
My name's Blake.
And you've been listening to Outlander Cast.